Всем привет, на связи первый танковый полк. Нам официально сказали, что подготовки перед отправкой в зону боевых действий не будет. Официальные командиры полка подтвердили эту информацию. 29-го у нас отправка предстоит в Херсон. Поэтому думайте сами, решайте сами, что делать с этим в дальнейшем.
Подготовки от слова того, что не стрельб,
не
теоретической подготовки,
не теории, ничего.
I didn't believe this at first. I thought that it's propaganda. I mean, I do understand the Red Army strategy of just taking people and putting them on the front line with little training. I get that. But tanks are expensive. They're not cheap. And you're using a tank with a person that's not trained, and you're sending them on the front line. So I didn't want to believe this. But turns out there was a journalist that actually did the digging, found this person's Instagram, they found where they're located, they interviewed them, and eventually the Russian command said, well, whoopsie, we did a mistake. Oh, it's okay, you know, he's going to get the proper training now. He's going to spend 2 weeks and get the proper training, and we're sorry. I mean, okay, I suppose in this situation, the problem has been resolved, but how many other people like him are there? And apparently this is systemic, because there are many more videos like this going around.
Возле костра сразу же им пизда будет. Так, потом что? Спальники, однозначно, будете спать, где придется. Спальники однозначно, плюс туристические коврики или замена, ну поняли, да, все? Это все свое, мальчишки. Вам форму, все, что армия, вам броню, вот это все, что касаемо военного. Этого ничего нет, наших мужиков мы сами все укомплектовали. По медицине тоже. От срачки, то есть лапирамиды, перекись водорода обязательно. Жгуты. У меня на вас на всех жгутов не хватит. Мы мужиков...
Нету жгутов, собирал.
А?
Нету в аптеке жгутов. Все, нету.
Родственники пусть. Аптечки, блядь, с этих, как его, автомобильные. Автомобильные аптечки потрошите, берите оттуда жгуты. Так, мужики, только не ржать. Жен, девушек, матерей просите, прокладки.
Сапоги?
Самые дешевые прокладки, плюс самые дешевые тампоны. Тампоны знаете для чего?
Нет.
Кровь останавливает.
Откуда?
Пулевое ранение, прям туда вводите и все, он начинает разбухать и придавливать стенки. Мужики, я это еще с Чечни знаю. Прокладки обязательно, ну дешевенькие. Понятно? Вам туда все сгодится, сейчас сырая погода. У меня там мои друзья, мои товарищи. То есть вот эту всю информацию нам скидывают это. По возможности, ребята, то-то, то-то, это, медицина. Мужики, сами о себе позаботьтесь, пожалуйста. Чуть-чуть вот это. Деньги все равно есть, пусть родственники, просите. Где-то что-то, ну покупайте.
I gotta say, that's such an Eastern European lady. We have a lot of them here, especially the elderly ones. I guess it's when the Red Army came into my country and pulled us under the Iron Curtain. Basically, the idea is that the government wants to fuck you. The government doesn't care about you. Here's some pragmatism. This is what you can actually do. Alright? Like, leave the theory and the propaganda alone. Right? Get some pads. Go to your wife and take her tampons. Like, this is, I don't know. And the fact that she literally cares about the soldiers. Like, guys, stay safe. You know, because the government doesn't really care about you. Also, when she says that the army provided you with uniforms and you have to get everything else, well, apparently, Trans-Baikal deputy of the State Duma announced the disappearance of 1.5 million uniforms from the Ministry of Defense. I mean, this is a hunk even by Russian standards. The uniforms just got up and left. It's good business, don't get me wrong. I mean, hey, if you gotta buy uniforms, you might find them online. you might buy some online. And this is actually something that I didn't want to report on, because I don't know, like, what is true and what isn't. But when you have such an abundance level of information and it's coming from everywhere and there's viral videos like this, yeah, it turns out that a lot of Russian soldiers have to buy their own gear. They have to buy their Kevlar, they have to buy their gloves. Apparently, with mobilization, now they might even have to buy their sleeping bags, they might have to buy aid kit. It's horrible. I definitely can't imagine the suffering that is going on with this war, both on the Ukrainian side and on the Russian side. I mean, imagine being a civilian, and all of a sudden, you are being drafted to a war that you didn't vote for. You can't protest because you also get arrested. And then you're not provided even with training or equipment, and you're sent on the front line. I don't know how the Russian leadership expects that there's going to be any morale on the front line. I mean, if the first wave had low morale, this next wave of people who are being mobilized is going to have even lower morale. I mean, they're going to surrender in droves. Now, I don't know how the Ukrainians treat war prisoners. I've no idea. But hopefully they're treating them well in order to encourage more people to surrender. Because, like, if you don't treat war prisoners well, then the news goes out and the other people refuse to surrender, right? So it's a little bit different. Like, if you corner people and you don't give them a way out, that's a bad tactic. In this situation, if they actually treat them well, and word on the front line is going to go, well, there's no way that these people are going to have high morale. They're either going to flee or they're going to surrender. Apparently, Ukraine has a hotline which is there to help Russian soldiers surrender. So if they want to do so, they call the hotline and they're telling them. There's also gruesome videos which I can't show you on YouTube, but people paying the services of experts into breaking their arm to a point where it's healable, but it gets them away from the mobilization. And according to British intelligence, take that as you will, there's over 300,000 people that have fled Russia from mobilization. Apparently a lot bigger than the initial invasion force. So there's a lot of Russian refugees, which is kind of funny because there's people on Twitter who don't understand what it's like to live under a dictatorship. They're like, well, why don't they fight against Putin? Why don't they fight against Putin? Like, dude, shut the fuck up, okay? You're on Twitter. Like, stop treating this like it's a football match. It's kind of interesting, right? Because, like, when you had other refugees in Europe from Syria and other places, they were like, why did they fight Bashar al-Assad? Why are they coming here? Why did they fight Bashar? In fact, I even remembered that there was a right-wing party which suggested to arm the refugees and send them back into their countries to take over their... And the left was like, how can you suggest even something like that? Oh my god, no. Twitter, what can I say? I lose a little bit of humanity every day. To me, it's very shocking, to be honest. Even when I look on the Ukrainian side and I see people who are under bombardment and have their entire neighborhoods ruined, especially in the initial part of the invasion, you know, that's very difficult to watch. But I can also understand the other part where you're not voting for this conflict, you're not allowed to protest against this conflict, and you receive a letter saying that you're going to be drafted. I mean, it's horrifying, you know. I hope none of us ever reach into such a fucked up position. Let me know what you guys think, and I do listen to a lot of voices, both on the left and on the right, regarding this conflict, and I think I'm the only one that legitimately wants this conflict to be over as soon as possible, because the amount of misery brought upon the common people is astonishing, and I think a lot of commentators and people on Twitter and online, they treat it as if it's a football game. And it's not. You wouldn't want to be there. You wouldn't want to be in Ukraine, you wouldn't want to be in Russia. Like, the images that are coming out of there are harrowing. But anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.